the right recipe.
Ramirez is expected to need 5 to 7 weeks to recover once the surgery's done. Back in 2019, when Jose broke the same bone in his right hand, he was actually back on the field in about a month. Also looking for an update on Chase DeLauder today from the Guardians. Suffered an injury to his right rib cage during Saturday's win against Detroit. DeLauder had undergone an MRI and a CT scan, but no word yet from the club on the results. You know, there's a pretty good chance Angel Martinez is back in the lineup tonight. He fouled a ball off his left foot on Saturday. Attorneys for quarterback Brendan Sorsby plan to withdraw their lawsuit against the NCAA today. He will not play for Texas Tech and instead will apply for the NFL supplemental draft. Last week, the QB got himself a temporary injunction to play for the Red Raiders at Texas Tech despite placing more than 9,000 bets. Monday morning, Big 12 filed a federal injunction for the right to discipline Sorsby. Mary Kay Cabot of Cleveland.com's been reporting that it's unlikely the Browns will make a bid on Sorsby. You can now find 92.3 The Fan on YouTube. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Get the best content from our shows each and every weekday. That's 92.3 The Fan on YouTube. Headline sports news every 20 minutes right here on 92.3 The Fan. From the University Hospital Sports Desk, I'm Jeff Thomas. Up next, it's Baskin and Phelps here on 92.3 The Fan.
The Ken Carman Show with Anthony Lima.
I've sat here and made arguments day in and day out about not taking Brendan Sorsby and giving Shedeur, or even Deshaun for that matter, a chance. I don't think their chances are very good, but I'll still go ahead and I'll give him a chance over adding more problems to my organization because I got to see him, and I don't know if I'm going to get a chance to see him because now I have to wait for another judge to make a decision whether or not the guy can play again if we get him in the supplemental draft. And how much do I give up?
The Ken Carman Show with Anthony Lima. Weekday mornings starting at 6 a.m. We are Sports Radio 92.3 The Fan. Talk sports with guys in the know.
It's embarrassing. I mean, are they not embarrassed?
It's time for Baskin and Phelps. Cleveland's Sports Radio 92.3 The Fan.
There are quarterback-needy teams in the National Football League. Our team arguably is one of them. You can see what you want to see when it comes to that. But does that mean you should take a chance on a kid who's having some things right now? Welcome to Baskin and Phelps. I'm Jeff Phelps, Dan Mennigan, in for Andy today. Meredith's behind the glass, 216-474-0092. Dano, good morning to you.
Morning to you as well.
Brendan Sorsby will apply for the supplemental draft. He has until June 22nd, I believe is the date to apply for the draft. And then, if I'm reading everything correctly, then the NFL can decide when the draft is going to be. But June 22nd is the date where, okay, you got to apply. And Texas Tech, Big 12, blah, 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 blah. Sorsby and the Texas Tech Red Raiders decide they're going to mutually part ways. The Big 12 wanted to be able to discipline him. Well, that's a red flag if you're Sorsby. What do they want to discipline me for? If they're going to discipline me, I'm done. At the very least, I'm getting suspended for a couple of games, but I'm probably done. I don't think, and we're going to look at a bunch of levels of this. I don't think he had a choice. I got to get out of this. And he's going to try and go to the supplemental draft.
This whole situation screams very much a part of what you laid out, and another part of it being just the aftermath of the Big 12 and everybody else, and realizing the giant mess that Texas Tech was going to find itself in the middle of if this kid was to suit up for them, and all the different lawsuits and all the different court filings and judges and billable hours that we're going to find our way into various checking accounts. This is the path of least resistance for Brendan Sorsby. This is the thing that he could do to make some of this stuff go away. Not all of it. But at least in one man's opinion, I think all you're doing is just moving lawyers from Texas to lawyers somewhere else.
But are you not eliminating the lawyers? If you say, I'm no longer going to try to play college football, I'm going to go to the supplemental draft.
Yeah, probably. It probably does get rid of a chunk of them.
You just might be cleaning it out. You're scraping the plate. It's going to be empty.
Yeah, that would do it. That would end the billable hours, which, do add up.
Yes, they do, don't they?
They do add up.
The Big 12 filed a federal injunction yesterday morning for the right to discipline him. The NCAA asked an appeals court for an expedited resolution to the local case requesting a decision on his eligibility be made by the start of the football season. In other words, both the Big 12 and the NCAA are trying to get him not to play. Correct?
Correct.
Isn't that the way that feels to you?
Yep.
That's what they're trying to do.
Yeah, it's pretty straightforward. You broke the cardinal rule of sports. Sorry.
Well, did he?
Yeah, he bet on his own team. That's it.
Okay, so what's that mean? Does it mean he should never be allowed to play football again?
I think so. I truly believe that. That is the cardinal rule of professional sports. Don't bet on your own sport, and especially don't bet on your own team. And the minute you start doing that, goodbye. Take care. That's the one rule. I wish, honestly, I'll go to the point. I wish there were more rules, but I'm not here to be the morality police or anything like that when it comes to other things that have gotten guys into the Hall of Fame or things that have happened since guys have been elected to the Hall of Fame in between there.
Okay, let me throw something at you.
Please.
I understand your moral stand on this. Okay, Kayshon Boutte is a wide receiver for the New England Patriots. In January of 2024, he was charged with underage betting while a student and football player at LSU. It came 8 months after he was drafted by the Patriots. So the Patriots drafted the guy in the 6th round and then found out about underage betting, and he was arrested, charged, ultimately dropped. Boutte placed more than 8,900 wagers from April of 2022 to May of 2023. 9,000, the number of Sorsby bets, apparently. Boutte bet on college football, at least 17 college football games, including 6 games that involved his team. He bet on his team. Bet on his team.
How did we not know this? How do I not know this?
The NFL did not discipline him.
That's absurd. Like,
NFL did not discipline him.
that is absolutely absurd. And maybe it was, who knows? Maybe it was because the charges were dropped. You know, maybe that's the reason why he never got charged or anything.
Well, Sorsby was never charged.
I'd kick
It's
Boutte
legal.
out.
It's legal.
I'd kick Boutte out of there too if it were up to me. I mean, I'm sorry. It's just we don't have
That
many
information's
black and white rules.
from ESPN.
Yeah, I have no recollection. Do you have recollection of this taking place in the moment?
I knew there was some stink, but I didn't remember what it was.
I have no
There's
recollection
a
of this.
quarterback named Hunter Deckers. And Hunter Deckers was a quarterback, was supposed to be the starter at Iowa State, was ruled ineligible ahead of 2023 after an investigation found that he bet on at least one game involving Iowa State, among other wagers that he made. Now, he bet only $15, but he bet on Iowa State to beat Oklahoma State in a 2021 game in which he did not play, which is the same situation as Brendan Sorsby.
Correct.
He bet on Indiana, but he didn't play in those games. It led to the end of his D1 career. He was at Iowa Western Community College in 2024, but signed by the New Orleans Saints as an undrafted free agent and was on their practice squad last year. No discipline from the NFL. The NFL is not going to discipline Brendan Sorsby. They're not going to do it. Precedent says they're not going to do it.
That's insane.
Kayshon Boutte bet on 8,900 wagers, 9,000 for Sorsby. Boutte bet on LSU.
That's insane.
No problem from the NFL.
It's absolutely absurd.
Well, it might be, but that's the way it's going to go.
Yeah.
So he's going to be able to come to the NFL. His bets were legal.
It's absurd. I mean, I the minute your sports have any question when it comes to the outcome, the minute you're making money off of something that you have control over, is the minute your sport dies.
Well, guess what? NFL is flourishing.
Right. But now you're opening this door.
Kayshon Boutte doesn't seem to be bothering them very much.
Well, he's bothering the Patriots for a completely different reason in that he wants out of there. But that's a different argument for another day.
Yeah, he averaged 16.7 yards a catch last year.
Yeah.
Played pretty well.
I just think you're on
good young wide receiver.
I just think the NFL once again is now on the slippery slope, where the minute this becomes predictable,
take a look
you're
around.
done.
Take a look around the league. There are a lot of things that aren't right about some of the guys in the league.
Oh yeah,
We've dealt with those issues here.
but everyone has seemed to stomach some of those far better than if I came up to you and said, "Hey, that game that you're about to watch, yeah, the quarterback knows the game plan and is gambling on it." How's that make you feel?
Well, apparently it didn't bother the Saints because they got a guy in their practice squad.
Yeah, but I'm talking of a fan base. I'm talking of people who want to be neutral observers.
I don't think people care.
If everything you're watching is fixed,
Who said it's fixed?
if everything
Brendan Sorsby bet on Indiana in games he didn't play in. He didn't fix anything.
if everything you're watching has someone profiting off of it, things that they can control, that's insane.
The NFL has sold its soul to gambling sites.
Yeah,
So is Major League Baseball. So is the NBA.
right.
This is the world we live in now. I love you. I love your thought because I think it's right.
Yeah,
By the way,
yeah.
but that's not the world we live in now.
I'm aware, but there should be a line of demarcation in there, and if you cross that line of demarcation, it should be toast. You should be done for. You should have no more.
You walk down the streets of Cleveland. If you walk 3 blocks, you can't walk 3 blocks without smelling pot.
Right,
30 years ago, that would have got you thrown in jail.
right. Which is now legal.
Well, you're allowed to bet now.
Which is now legal
You're allowed
by
to
government.
bet. You're
but-
allowed to bet now.
But private enterprise is still allowed to come in and tell you we could drug test you for marijuana and remove you from your position and occupation because you're testing positive for marijuana. We're still living in this world
Yeah.
where private enterprise can step in. The NFL.
I'll bet some lawyers would love to get a hold of that case
Oh,
next time somebody does that.
it's happening all over the place.
I bet lawyers love it.
It's happening all over the place because
Hey,
private enterprise works off of it.
How can you can me for something that's legal?
Happens all the time.
Yeah, I'd love to be a lawyer, be involved in that.
Happens all the time. It's private business.
Keyshawn Booty doing real well for the New England Patriots. 8,900 bets, including some on his own team. Exact same scenario as Brendan Sorsby. Brendan Sorsby is going to be allowed to play in the NFL, and somebody's going to go out and bring him in.
It's insane. I wouldn't touch him with a 39.5
Why?
foot pole.
Why? Just because he bet on games?
Yes. Yes, absolutely. So again, it's cardinal sin. That's it. You're done.
It was a cardinal sin.
It always should be a cardinal sin. Did you feel comfortable with the Class A situation as it came out more and more? Were you okay with Class A and all that stuff, or did you feel a little grimy, a little gross?
I thought that one was a little different.
In what regard? A pitcher was betting on something he controlled the outcome of.
Absolutely. Sorsby doesn't control the outcome of any of that. He bet on games he didn't play in. And then he just bet on games. Dude likes to bet. Is it an addiction for him? I don't know. You could make the argument that it's not. You could clearly make the argument that he just likes to bet. And if that's the case, well, okay, that's his deal. He's allowed to bet.
Here, perfect example. Jameson Williams got suspended for placing bets inside of the facility for the Lions. Just gambling inside of the facility, right? Ended up getting suspended for such things. Now, that's legal in the real world, but a private enterprise could step in and put down some kind of penalty that would come with it.
But that same enterprise did not suspend Keyshawn Booty because of what he did previously. And the NFL is not going to suspend Brendan Sorsby.
You are opening up a slippery slope on this.
216-474-0092.
And not you. I don't mean you. I mean the NFL is you.
Should the kid be allowed to play in the NFL? 216-474-0092. Let's get more specific. Would you want him playing for your football team that happens to wear an orange helmet with a brown and white stripe? 2 brown stripes, actually. It's Baskin and Phelps. Mennigan in for Andy.
If I asked you right now, is your home insulated? You'd probably say, yeah, of course it is. That's what almost everyone says. And almost everyone.
Phillips is back in the lineup tonight. He fouled the ball off his left foot against the Tigers on Saturday. Want to catch highlights from the Fan from earlier today? Get over to 923thefan.com or favorite 923 The Fan on the Odyssey app for all today's headline segments. Headline sports news every 20 minutes right here on 923 The Fan. From the University Hospital Sports Desk, I'm Jeff Thomas.
Brendan Sorsby, the former Indiana, Cincinnati, and almost Texas Tech quarterback, planning to say bye-bye to college football. Looks like college football planning to say bye-bye to him as well. He's going to make himself eligible for the NFL supplemental draft, filing those papers and everything else, going to turn pro. I'm Jeff Phelps, Dan Mennigan, in for Andy today. Mary Kay Cabot from the PlainDealerCleveland.com is going to join us in about 42 minutes, 37 minutes. And on X, about an hour ago, it's 11 hours ago, excuse me, I saw a 1. I thought it was 1. There's actually another one right there.
Sometimes they blend together.
Yeah, I know. Well, sometimes they do.
Those ones are so skinny.
Yep. Unlikely to bid on Brendan Sorsby are Cleveland Browns, according to Mary Kay. But they will add to the work they did on him for the 2026 draft in case he came out. That means, And remember, Joe Royer, their tight end, who they drafted from Cincinnati, Brendan Sorsby's teammate last couple of years. If that means anything. What it means is this. If they're scouting Royer and drafted him, you can be sure they saw the guy who was throwing him passes. They're very familiar is the point. They're very familiar.
He's got the arm strength. He's got the athleticism. He will spray throws pretty often on the field as well. His ability to read the field, that kind of stuff, has definitely led to some questions along the way. This isn't like you are taking someone who immediately would have been the best quarterback in a draft, would have been the second best quarterback in the draft, or anything like that. I've seen anywhere from quarterback 5 to him from people that I've read who I trust. All the way, I know some people have said I'd take him over Arch right now. Okay, fine.
Matt Miller is an NFL draft analyst from ESPN. He's been on our show.
I'm not the biggest Arch guy, but yeah.
Matt's been on our show. He said in last year's rankings, he had him behind Fernando Mendoza, but ahead of Ty Simpson as the number 2 quarterback in the 2026 draft. In his 2027 class rankings right now, he was ranked number 3 behind Arch Manning and Dante Moore. In other words, and other scouts and other folks, and ESPN has a great story out about the whole thing, by the way. And if you want some real insight into it, go listen, or better yet, read. Brendan Sorsby to the NFL Supplemental Draft, What to Know. That's from ESPN. A lot of their folks say he has first-round talent. They're getting quotes from people around the NFL, first-round talent. Should the guy be allowed to come to the NFL? And do you want him in Cleveland, folks? Again, Kayshon Boutte, very similar circumstances. About the same number of bets, 8,900 to 9,000. That's a lot of bets. Also bet on his own team when he was in college. Kevin's in Cuyahoga Falls. Kevin, welcome.
Gentlemen, how are we doing today?
Well.
Hey, Dan, I'm going to help you out here in the bridge you're trying to build and why your bridge is crumbling to pieces. And that is this. You're trying to compare pro sports to college, and I get why you're trying to do that. But the huge problem with that is professional athletes are employees of the league upon which they're in. As employees, they're under collective bargaining agreements. And in those collective bargaining agreements voted on by those players, there's ethical and moral clauses that are in there that prevents things like, let's say, gambling, including if you do it in the building itself. If it's a hockey game and you play football, it doesn't matter. If you break those rules of the collective bargaining agreement, you can be subjugated to penalties, including kicked out of the league completely. The NCAA has none of that. They're not employees. They're just student athletes. There is no collective bargaining agreement. And what this court case has exposed is the NCAA's complete and utter inability to really enforce any of their rules because there is no collective bargaining agreement. They aren't employees, and there's no enforcement arm. And, Jeff, you're right. There's no difference between Sorsby and my son in college, right? I mean, My son can place bets. There's no penalties for him. Are they going to kick him out of chemistry class because he placed a bet? No, of course not. They can't do that. And this case has exposed deeply the NCAA's complete and utter lack of actual authority they have on the players or universities. And I would say at this point, there's nothing to stop a student athlete from placing any bets they want. And this has exposed the NCAA has zero authority to stop any of that at all. It shows how poor the NCAA has handled this entire situation, how so far behind the ball they are, that frankly, these student athletes are basically allowed to do it, and they can. So,
hey, Kevin, would you want him in Cleveland?
Oh my gosh, Jeff, really? Oh, how about one train wreck at a time in our quarterback room?
Thank you.
And until Massage Watson is off the roster, oh my God, what a train wreck of a quarterback room that would be. No, thank you.
All right,
Forget
Kevin.
the 10-foot pole. I wouldn't even use a 100-foot pole to touch that room. No thanks.
You had some really good thoughts on the student athletes there. That's the catch here is that this is just where we are, I think, as a society now. We've made this legal. Kids are walking around, we all carry a phone. That means we carry a computer, which means we carry a casino if we want to.
Yep. Yeah. It is the world that we are living in on many things, but you need to be an adult and be able to have self-control, and they need to realize that private enterprise works off of different rules from time to time than what public does.
I have a buddy who sends me emails from time to time, and he sent me one last week, and folks in his family had a problem with drinking. And he said that person always told him there's a difference between being an addict and just liking to drink. Just because you drink a lot doesn't mean you're an alcoholic. Just because you bet a lot doesn't necessarily mean you're a gambling addict.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's a good point.
You could just like it.
Yeah.
And you could say, "What? I can't do that in the NFL." That's no problem. Fine. That might be, Sorsby might have to. And he went in for treatment and everything else. Why did he go in for treatment? Well, he had to do something. Guy got nailed with 9,000 bets. That's not a good look if you're trying to play in the NFL. So, I don't know if the guy's a gambling addict or if he just likes to bet. But in our society today, that's allowed, isn't it, Arvin, in Cuyahoga Falls? Back-to-back phone calls from Cuyahoga Falls, Arvin, to start the show.
No wonder they always say it's thriving.
Good morning, Mr. Phelps.
And you?
Yes, I was on a couple months ago regarding the pictures from the Guardians. I spent 46 years in the criminal world of investigation, and I will tell you, you're dealing with a personality and a psyche of the behavior. Leopards don't change their spots. 8,900, 9,000 bets clearly indicate that this person or persons have an addiction issue. And addiction has been shown that going into a program for 30 days or 60 days rarely solves the problem. And what happens, in my experience and in my view, is that the psyche, the person's mind becomes derailed, just like it did with the pictures. And desperate people do desperate things. And when you have a problem, an illness, a sickness, if you don't address it, undoubtedly it's going to get worse. And that's when it becomes so popular, as you pointed out, that law enforcement or other agencies get involved. These people end up associating with perhaps nefarious people and end up doing things that in their mind don't seem to think it's that bad. Their moral compass gets bent, completely reversed.
Arvin, the one point here, and you mentioned the 8,900 bets. The guy who placed 8,900 bets when he was in college is getting ready for his fourth season in the NFL.
I understand. Yet, I can see it. I believe a lot of people see it, and some people fail to see it. There's an old adage, love is blind, but the neighbors can see. So
that's pretty good.
Well,
I've never heard that one before, but it's pretty good.
It pretty well says that these folks don't really perceive that there's an issue, that they believe they can handle it, or they perceive that it's okay because they don't see the ramifications.
Yeah.
But I think if you allow this to persist, you'll be in the world of what happened with the cheating of the balls and strikes in Texas, and you see what happened to the pitchers in Cleveland. It's just a matter of time.
Arvin, thank you very much. Great perspective there. And that might be true. With Clase, that whole situation, he clearly in a major league game did something, according to all the reports and all the investigations, that affected gambling bets. Sorsby didn't. Apparently neither did Keishon Boutte. Tom's in Menor. Hey, Tom.
Hey, guys. Great show as always.
Thanks.
Appreciate it, man.
I was just, when you guys said this guy had like over 9,000 bets, I was thinking, oh my gosh, what was he, like 21 years old?
Yeah, and the total was $90,000 in bets. But if you do the math, that's like $10 a bet. It wasn't like he was betting huge sums of money.
Yep.
Well, think about this. If you bet one day, if you bet every day of the year, 365 bets, that guy's betting, that's 30 years. The guy's 21. How many times does he bet in a day? Every day of the year. That's a ton of bets.
You can go and
that's a lot of bets.
Problem.
Tom, you could go and find stuff. He was betting on Korean baseball. He was betting on ping pong. He was betting on all sorts of different things, and he was using proxies at one point to place bets.
But still, if you just bet once a day, that's 365 a year. I mean, it would take you 30 years to get to 9,000, 9,200 bets, whatever it was. I mean, this guy's bet probably 50 times a day. He's only 21 years old. He's only been betting for 3 years. I mean, this is not something that the guy's sitting there at 65 and going, boy, I did 9,000 bets through my lifetime. Okay, fine, whatever. This guy's 21 and he's bet over 9,300 times or whatever it was. I mean, that's crazy. You want that guy on your team? No.
Tom, you say no.
Not.
Okay.
Run
Tom,
far,
thank you very much.
Run fast.
More of your phone calls coming up. 216-474-0092. Mary Kay Cabot says Browns unlikely. She's going to join us coming up in 25 minutes right here on Baskin and Phelps. I'll tell you next if I would want the Browns to take a chance on them. We'll talk that next.
tonight. He fouled the ball off his left foot on Saturday, suffering a bruise. Listen to The Fan Rewind weeknights 11 to midnight. All the best segments from all our shows, and you can always listen on the Odyssey app. Headline sports news every 20 minutes right here on 92.3 The Fan. From the University Hospital Sports Desk, I'm Jeff Thomas.
Should the Browns put in a bid for Brendan Sorsby? Supplemental draft. Looks like we're going to have one. Haven't had anybody taken in a supplemental draft since 2019 in the NFL. It's been since 2019, and they haven't even had a supplemental draft since 2023, according to reports that are out there. Mary Kay Cabot says the Browns are not expected to go after Brendan Sorsby. And she's going to join us coming up in 18 minutes. I'm Jeff Phelps. My buddy over there is Dan Mennigan.
And thank the heavens for that.
Well, that's the report. You never know.
You never know.
You never
You're right.
know.
You never know.
You never know. Jim's in Strongsville. Hey, Jim.
What's up, Jim?
Hey guys, how you doing? Listen,
Well,
I'm so tired of hearing about forget the gambling portion of Sorsby. I am so tired of hearing about some dude that I really knew nothing about, that nobody was really blasting all over the place, now being talked about as like a top 5 pick next year, a whole year in advance. A whole year, they're just going to say, well, he's going to be good next year, but he's going to have a good year, and he would have been a top 5 pick. Putting them over guys like Julian Sang, all these other guys, the kid from South Carolina, all these other quarterbacks, they're just launching Sorsby right up ahead of them because, you know, why? Why? Because now all of a sudden he's in trouble? The guy this morning out with Ken and Anthony was like, well, if you just watched him on TV, you wouldn't have thought too much. Oh, okay. So is there some kind of 4D television out there now that, like, all of a sudden you see things that I don't see? I mean, that's the thing I don't understand. They're building this guy up all based on what? He was unimpressive this year. So basically, you're trying to forecast out a whole year before he was going to come out, and you're putting him ahead of Sellers. You're putting him ahead of Sand. You're putting him ahead of the kid from Notre Dame, the kid from Miami. And this Arch Manning thing, I'd have him ahead of Arch Manning. Okay, dude, sure you would. Oh, take the name off. Sure. Okay, yeah, whatever you say. Yeah, he's got more physical skills than Arch Manning. Sure. Okay. It's ludicrous. And I think this is the whole problem with this whole industry around, like, scouting these players or whatever. Nobody's held accountable for being completely and utterly wrong and saying completely and utterly stupid things. So that's what they do. They run around and say crazy things that get them tons of clicks online, and they get them talking about it. Do either of you believe that this Brendan Sorsby is all of what they're? I mean, maybe he is. I think a regular guy if he would have played this year, it would have been a crapshoot. Now you're not playing this year, and it's supposedly less of a crapshoot. I just don't get it.
Nice using crapshoot, Jim, in a gambling thing. Well done.
Well, thanks, boys.
See you, buddy.
I never watched Brendan Sorsby at Cincinnati and thought to myself, yep, there's a top-tier quarterback.
Fearless Leader points out, Jim, just so you know, folks who watch college football do know Sorsby, and he picked up $5 million to go to Texas Tech.
Oh, yeah.
Which, by the way,
he was good.
Which Texas Tech says they will not try to get back. Texas Tech's going to let the guy keep his $5 million.
His $5 million.
Yep, he was hot stuff in the portal. I said I'd let you know if I think the Browns should go after him. Absolutely, the Cleveland Browns should not put in a bid on Brendan Sorsby.
Good man. Why do you believe so?
Because their quarterback is coming in the 2027 draft. I don't think Sorsby is the guy. If by chance Andrew Berry, and Andrew Berry talked about it in his press conference.
Mm-hmm.
Andrew Berry said, hey, if, we'll do our due diligence, blah, 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 blah. And remember, he was throwing passes to the guy the Browns drafted, Joe Royer, tight end at Cincinnati. They know Sorsby. Between Deshaun's situation, and it's still a situation, between the Shedeur Sanders hype train and maybe the ability that goes along with it, we'll still have to see. I think the Browns have enough on their plate at quarterback to not take a chance on a guy who is not an absolute upper echelon prospect. If Sorsby were Arch Manning in all of the ratings, If he were Fernando Mendoza, yeah, I'd put in a claim for him. I'd put in a bid on the supplemental draft. But he seems to be a quarterback more along the Ty Simpson range that, okay, this guy might be pretty good in the NFL. He might not be. Who knows? Because of that, I wouldn't do it. However.
Okay. The however is holding up a lot of weight right now.
They still need a franchise quarterback.
So I know this is going to shock a lot of people who have listened to the first 40 minutes. I'm a very loud no. I don't know if I could scream no loud enough to truly get my feelings across. For the reasons laid out previous of everything else that has followed him, but then for another reason, which is the fact that the Browns, once again, have had kind of like a normal rebuild, quiet offseason. The kind of offseason that you should have where you're focused in, you're making smart moves. It clearly
and maybe
seems,
setting up a first-year head coach to not have a terrible year.
It clearly seems like they have made a focus on off-the-field character guys who have better characters. You could read Jory Epstein's piece that she wrote when she sat in on the draft room about how much character meant to these guys. Clearly, it seems like there has been a change in philosophy when it has come to the Browns locker room and how they want to evaluate guys. If you brought in Brendan Sorsby to this point, you truly would once again do the Reese Bobby and Talladega Nights, where all of a sudden everything is going too well. Why is it going well? Oh no, I'm starting to twitch. Okay, it's time to get thrown out of an Applebee's. Like that's really what the Browns would do in that moment. Is it would be like, why is everything going well?
We should come here every Sunday.
Everything is going really well. Everybody's
nice
getting
family dinner.
Everybody's getting along. We're like building a culture. There's so cohesion. People actually seem to like each other. And Brendan Sorsby, we have to take Brendan Sorsby.
Let me give you a thought.
That's what it seems like. Is it's just it's what they did with Shedeur on top of it, where it just seemed like everything's going
Dan?
well. We have
they don't have a quarterback.
It's all going together.
They don't have
Shedeur.
one, and they're not going to win until they get one. Keith sends me this email. Keith, I think this is interesting. Why is gambling addiction looked at so differently than a drug addiction? He said if he had a drug problem, which many players do, nobody would give a damn. He said, use drugs, beat your girlfriend, seems to be accepted, but gambling is not. I'd give up a third-round pick for him in the supplemental draft, says Keith.
Because
I think that's a real valid point. Okay? If he has an addiction, and I'll be the first to say, even though I've been devil's advocate and said maybe the kid just really loves to bet. 9,000 bets is a lot of bets. Wonder if he's even close to a college degree, spending that much time studying gambling. Who knows?
Might be a probability.
But Keith, there you go. Keith's point, I think, is accurate. If a drug addiction, nobody cares.
Not totally.
You'd get him his help. He'd get himself help, and you'd bring him in.
But here's
that happens all the time.
Here's the difference, though, that also comes with gambling, is that a lot of times these books will cut you off from being able to gamble with them, like the ones that are on your phone and all of that kind of stuff. And so that's when you have to start going into more shadier doings. And when you get into the shadier doings, shadier things start to take place. That's the issue with this, is that these sports books that you could point to that are on your phone will cut you off after a period of time, especially if you're winning, especially if you're on a hot streak. If you are addicted to this, if a drug dealer will just keep feeding you the entire time if you're addicted to such thing, and as long as the money's green, fine. The sports guys, on the other hand, this is a different animal, which is where a lot of things start to get real hairy in a real short period of time. That's the difference. The Brendan Donaghy, or is it Brendan? Tim Donaghy, that's his name, is a great proof of that.
The NBA referee.
Mm-hmm. Is a great proof of that. You can even look at the Chauncey Billups, Damon Jones, all the things going on with the FBI right now. Same general idea. The gambling websites will cut you off after a period of time. The other people that you deal with do not cut you off, and they want their money.
They cut off fingers.
Other things. Legs and the boys have other things to worry about.
Yeah.
See, that's the other side of this when it comes to gambling and sports gambling and all that stuff. The drug dealer will keep selling you.
You know somebody's going to take him, right? Or somebody's going to sign him. I can't see him. I can't see him being completely passed over in a league where success at quarterback is so essential to the success of a team. That ESPN story I referenced earlier talked about teams, talked about him as a player, good quarterback. Is he a phenomenal quarterback? Who knows? Jeremy Fowler, who used to cover the Browns, he's now their national reporter. An NFL exec said this about Sorsby: excellent, easy thrower with the ability to make every throw. Big, good athlete, can go off schedule, can rush for touchdowns and short yardage and goal line. Lots of highlights. Would like more consistency, but a first-round talent for sure. A quarterback-needy team could put in a bid, 5th round, and get a first-round talent for a 5th-round pick. That's what happens in this league. And I'll bet somebody goes for it, Dan. I don't want it to be our team.
Please don't be a team I care about. Please
I don't want it to be our team.
Please don't be a team I care about.
I truly think our team is set up for the 2027 draft. The Myles Garrett trade does that. And I think they're set up with this roster as a young team to probably not win 11 or 12 games. So they're going to have a high draft pick and more ammo to go trade up. I think 2027 is when they get their quarterback.
I did too. I think that has been the plan for a period of time, with the idea behind it being the ultimate great case scenario. Shedeur Sanders walks out on the field and completely shreds up the league.
Lights it up.
And you throw your hands up in the air and go, wonderful. Now I have 2 first-round picks that I could use to plug in some other holes.
Or go get a quarterback and make sure.
Yeah. I mean,
have 2.
That's it. Yep. That's the ultimate A-plus scenario that I think every single Browns fan is rooting for. Shedeur Sanders runs out there, does great. The backup plan to that, your quarterback of the future is sitting in the 2027 draft. You take the guy that you want because you have the ammo to go get the guy you want.
Ben Solak from ESPN. Ben's been on our show before.
Yes.
Which NFL team should be interested? He says 8 come to mind. That's a quarter of the league. 8. Cardinals, he said they're the most obvious because they have Jacoby Brissett, Gardner Minshew, and they brought in Carson Beck in the 3rd round.
Yep.
And he goes over, Cardinals might not wish to spend any 2027 capital as they gear up for a bigger swing in the upcoming draft. The Browns are in a similar boat.
Run far, run fast.
He says the Jets could be, Dolphins, even though they signed Malik Willis, it's only a 2-year contract.
Mm-hmm.
He even says Atlanta with Tua and Michael Penix.
There's a lot of people who think Atlanta's in the midst of a shh, don't tell anybody, but we might be tanking for a quarterback. Yeah, there's a lot of people out there who think that's what Atlanta's doing.
Wonder if Kevin signed up for that. Mary Kay Cabot says, Browns unlikely, but will do their due diligence. Love all that. Mary Kay is going to join us next from the PlainDealerCleveland.com. Her thoughts on Sorsby and the Browns on Baskin and Phelps.
This is an Odyssey Sports Minute.
Like a game of hot potato. Can you bet on that, by the way? Hot potato.
channel and get the best content from our shows each and every weekday. That's 923 The Fan on YouTube. Headline Sports News every 20 minutes on 92.3 The Fan. From the University Hospital Sports Desk, I'm Meredith Kane.
You can now stream The Ken Carman Show with Anthony Lima live on the 92.3 The Fan YouTube channel every weekday from 6 till 10 a.m. Subscribe to the 92.3 The Fan YouTube page now for free.
NFL teams are going to have a decision to make. Likely a decision to make, especially quarterback-needy teams, and it might throw a quarter of the league into that situation. Brendan Sorsby apparently coming out for the supplemental draft. Let's go to the Wise Heart Right, We Make It Right Call Kyle Wright hotline. Mary Kay Cabot covers the Browns for the Plain Dealer in Cleveland.com. Mary Kay, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Hello, Mary Kay.
12 hours ago, you went to what used to be Twitter, now called X. Updated, Browns unlikely to bid on Brendan Sorsby in the supplemental draft, but they will add to the work they did on him for the 26th draft in case he came out. That's interesting. What do you think? Why will they not go for him?
Well, things can always change, but right now, I think that the thinking is that he is so fresh out of rehab, or maybe even still in rehab for his gambling addiction, that I think the feeling is you just really don't have any evidence or any insider knowledge into the notion that he can stay clean and sober as it relates to gambling. It's probably a very, very difficult thing to do, and nobody's going to really know the answer to that when they actually have to make this decision on whether or not to bid on him. So I think at this moment in time, they probably don't want to add another log onto the quarterback fire. But let me just say this. When I say they are going to continue to do their work on him and complete their due diligence, they will do that. And things can change as you go through that process.
At the golf outing, Mary Kay, Todd Monken was, very straightforward and really did not hide his feelings when it came to Brendan Sorsby. How much say do you think that guy might have in a Sorsby decision with Andrew Berry? Todd Monken being that guy.
Well, I think he'll have some. I mean, he's the offensive-minded head coach. He has, I think, a huge voice in who they acquire at the quarterback position. So I do think the fact that at that point in time that he was not interested in adding this person to the mix, I think that's significant. Once again, I think that they will go through the process and they will make a final determination once they probably attend his workout, talk to enough people about the gambling addiction, maybe have an opportunity to talk to Brendan himself, and then things can change. So even though you feel a certain way in one period of time, this is a football team that is always ready to pivot.
Would they want to add a guy who could be a distraction to what has already been a quarterback room full of distractions? And what kind of talent do you think it would take for them to want to do that, Mary Kay?
This is not a team that really concerns itself with distractions. And
that was well said, Mary Kay. That was well said. And accurate.
About as blunt as you'll get.
Yeah.
They're not that worried about the distraction piece. They're not. They feel like they can block out the outside noise in situations like this. They feel that they have the infrastructure to handle potentially difficult situations. So I don't think they're going to be worried about that part of it. I think that the part that would concern them the most would be whether or not Brendan Sorsby can stay clean. And that should be the primary focus of every single football team that decides whether or not to bid on him.
He threw passes to Browns rookie tight end Joe Royer. And at the end of rookie minicamp, Joe gave this quote, "I firmly believe that he's a first-round talent," Sorsby. He's got all the tools to make up a successful quarterback. He's a hell of a player. He's big. He's quick. He's got the arm strength. He's smart as well. Mary Kay, I read that because if the Browns drafted Royer, you know they saw a lot of Sorsby, right? If you're scouting the tight end, who threw him the passes? So I would think they're pretty familiar with his skill level.
Right. I mean, they may have ended up with Joe Royer because they were watching so much of Brendan Sorsby.
That could be too.
And they did plenty. Right. They did plenty of work on him for the 2026 draft. in the event that he came out in this past draft. So they did as much work on him as they did every other quarterback in this draft. Ty Simpson, you name it. They did that kind of work on Brendan Sorsby, the Dante Moores, all the guys who contemplated coming out. They put extensive work into them. So all they really have to do now is update their book on him. And it's a big, huge chunk that they have to do because it involves the whole gambling addiction, where he stands with that now. They'll have to talk to some experts about, the relapse rates and things like that. But suffice it to say, this will not be their first homework on Brendan Sorsby.
Mary Kay Cabot at Cleveland.com and the Plain Dealer joining us on the Wise Heart Right, We Make It Right, Call Kyle Wright hotline. Of course, you can listen to her and Dan Lobby and Ashley Baystock on the Orange and Brown Talk podcast as well. Make sure you give that a listen along the way.
Good stuff.
Mary Kay, it does seem, though, and maybe it's just Jory Epstein's piece from her being inside of the Browns draft room on day one sticking with me, it does seem like they've made a concerted effort to get better character guys inside of the building, and a Brendan Sorsby would be a bit of a right turn from that. Do you see that being the case, that they've made a right turn from that philosophy of, bring us in and we can help these guys become better players and less of a distraction?
No, I think they've always had the same philosophy, and I think Andrew Berry has been very vocal about this, that he will evaluate each player for the indiscretion that they had in the past and determine, was it a good guy that made a bad mistake or a bad guy that made a bad mistake? If it's a good guy that made a bad mistake, he always tries to give that player the benefit of the doubt. And it worked to his advantage last year with some of the players that they brought in. So as recently as last offseason, they brought in a number of players that had legal issues. Isaiah Bond, Quinshad Judkins, some of those guys had things going on. And it's been something that has been sort of a pattern with the Browns, to give guys a second chance that have had some kind of a mistake, an indiscretion, a legal issue in their past, and see if they can't get them into the fold, get them on the right track, and help them become a productive citizen as well as a good player.
Mary Kay Cabot joining us, Plain Dealer, Cleveland.com. Do you think that if the Browns... Mary Kay, I have the feeling, let me rephrase, I have the feeling that they're looking at 2027 for their quarterback, unless something drastic happens this year, and we all hope something drastic in a good way happens. If that's the case, do you think that they'd have to be over the moon about Sorsby to even think about it? Because after the Miles trade, they certainly are set up to get a quarterback next year.
Well, they are, but if that quarterback is available this year and you don't even have to use a first-round pick on him, it's something that you have to give some serious consideration to. Once again, you have to weigh that against the possibility of him going off the reservation a little bit and ending up not being able to play at all. So there are extenuating circumstances here, but if you feel that he has the talent to be your franchise quarterback, you do have to take a look at it. Now, having said that, again, it seems to me at this moment in time that they're not going to bid on him, or at least they probably wouldn't bid a super high pick on him. But I always say you can never say never, right? I mean, we didn't really think they were going to trade Myles Garrett, and they did, because when things change, they're ready to change along with it.
Mary Kay, if let's say, we've hit the offseason, we're going to begin training camp in a couple of weeks. If Deshaun Watson were to come out and win that job for the Cleveland Browns, does that put Shedeur Sanders on the trade block? Would the Browns look to move off of him?
I don't know about that. I don't think that you would necessarily have to do that. I think that the Browns have demonstrated in recent years that they use 2, 3, 4, sometimes 5 quarterbacks in a season, and maybe they want to see what Deshaun Watson can do. Maybe they want to see if he can stay healthy, and if he can't, then you move over to Shedeur, or maybe it's vice versa. Maybe you want to see what Shedeur can do for you, and if that doesn't work out, then you can go to Deshaun. So I have a feeling right now that both of these guys will be on the roster when the season begins, and that both of them will probably ultimately get playing time.
So even if the inverse direction of Shedeur wins this job, is there a chance Deshaun Watson gets cut? Or do you think he's still on this roster no matter what?
He'll still be on this roster. There are financial considerations and cap considerations there. And then once again, you never know exactly when you're going to need your second quarterback to step in there. So I wouldn't see that happening.
What's your gut tell you? You watched mandatory minicamp, you watched all the OTAs and everything. Who looked good? Who looks the most promising at that spot right now?
Well, I mean, it's hard to say right now because I think Shedeur did a really nice job of keeping himself in the conversation for this starting job. And I do think that he came from behind to put himself in this position. I think he worked really, really hard and he earned it. And now he's got to go out and prove it when the fur is flying, the lights are on, the rush is on, the pads are on. And that will be the true test. And I honestly don't think they're going to know the answer to that until they see him not only against the Bills in joint practices, but in some preseason games. And same thing for Deshaun. I think they want to see how these guys operate in something closer to real football competition. And then they will go from there. I don't see it, even though the quarterback's coach said he thinks it could reveal itself early on in training camp. I see Todd Monken taking this into some preseason games, maybe all of them.
Mary Kay, you and I have been kindred spirits for years. Please bring in some talent at wide receiver. It appears they've brought in some talent at wide receiver, and I'm trying not to be giddy. How did Denzel Boston look? How's Casey Concepcion look? And can you and I relax and let these guys go a little bit?
Well, I do think they have the best receiving core that we've seen since Odell Beckham Jr. and Jarvis Landry were here together. Those guys had a really nice offseason and mini camp. And Denzel Boston, he's got amazing hands. He's got really super sure, strong hands. So he's going to be fine when it comes to catching the ball. And he's got to work on his other issues, getting in and out of his breaks quickly and things like that. But he had a really, really nice and very strong offseason and mini camp. And KC, in the early going, he dropped a few passes. That's been his issue, is that he has to maintain his concentration at all times. But he got better at that as he went along. And I thought he finished on a very, very high note. Both of those guys look really good. And I think it's a good receiving core. And I do believe that for the most part, they have what they need on the receiving core right now. Isaiah Bond has gotten a lot better. So they should be so much better in that department.
Mary Kay, thank you. And great insight into everything going on with Sorsby. I love your thought. They don't shy away from drama. It might make you think,
no.
Here comes a 5th-round pick. Yeah. Here comes a 4th-round pick. You have
enjoy the weather, Mary Kay, as well. It is awesome outside.
Yeah, and on top of everything, enjoy the weather.
I will do that.
It is awesome outside. I'm sorry.
See you, Mary Kay.
All right. Take care, guys.
Mary Kay Cabot joining us on the Wise Heart Right. We make it right. Call Kyle Wright hotline. You heard what she said about the drama. That was interesting. We've talked about what Todd Monken said about Sorsby. We've talked about what Andrew Berry said about Sorsby. We'll hear what they said about Sorsby next on Basket of Phelps.
For Vanscoy Hair, and with the temperatures heating up, you don't have to wear a hat all the time. Restoring your hair has never been so easy. That's because Vanscoy Hair has all the proven technologies, and you don't have to have a hat to cover all that thinning hair up all summer long. And
right to discipline the quarterback. As far as the Browns go, Mary Kay Cabot reporting it's unlikely that the Browns will place a bid on Sorsby in the supplemental draft. You can listen to The Fan Rewind weeknights from 11 p.m. to midnight, all the best segments from all our shows, and you can always listen on the Odyssey app. Headline Sports News every 20 minutes on 92.3 The Fan. From the University Hospital Sports Desk, I'm Meredith Kane.
Mary Kay Cabot was just with us. If you happen to miss that interview or any moment in our show, any of our shows, use the Rewind feature on the Odyssey app. It's powered by Integrated Restoration, your local experts in water, fire, and storm disaster restoration. Jeff Phelps here, Dan Manigan in for Andy today. Meredith doing 2020s, flying the ship, doing everything. We're talking Brendan Sorsby. Mary Kay Cabot just said, interestingly, I thought, this team is not afraid of drama. We've seen that, but now she did on social media say, unlikely that the Browns right now are looking at Sorsby, but as she said, and I think accurately, that can change. And we'll see. We'll see. They obviously did a lot of work on him, Dan. And they drafted the tight end that he threw 80 passes to over the last couple of years.
Just please don't. For the love of all that's holy, please don't.
What if the guy?
I'm so sick and tired.
I said no as well.
Yeah.
What if the guy ends up being top 10 type quarterback in the NFL, and you could get him for a 4th or a 5th?
If I'm going down because I didn't take a quarterback in the supplemental draft with gambling issues, then I'm probably going down for a litany of other reasons before we get to the quarterback in the supplemental draft with gambling issues.
Well, you can be sure they're really working at it, looking at him, digging in, and other quarterback needy teams are as well. You can be sure of it.
There are some things where it's just like I'm going down with this. That's fine. If that's what gets me fired, then that's what gets me fired. Jeff, I am so darn sick and tired of all the drama. I am so sick and tired of lawsuits. I am so sick and tired of off the field. I want to be a team that leaves minicamp, and for 6 weeks, I don't hear a word from any of you. I want all of you to just go away, like relatives.
Yeah,
I want you to all come to town.
What's the fun in that?
Like relatives. I want you to all come to town. I want to have a good time with you, and then I want all of you to go away. Just go away.
Your family thinks highly of you, too.
For 6 weeks, I want the Cleveland Browns to just go away, outside of occasional charity work, because this time of year, the only time you hear about any football player is bad news. It's never good. The closest thing you've got to good in football news today is that Rashid Rice got out of prison.
Isn't that swell?
Yeah, he got his 30 days done. So just for the love of all that's holy, to cause me to no longer age like a president, can we please avoid the drama? You've went a whole offseason of avoiding it. You've come so far.
Okay. Drama's fun.
Is it?
At least here at work it is.
Is it? You and I have different definitions of fun. Content versus fun are two different things.
Well, no, that's true. Let me when we hear these two comments from Todd Monken and Andrew Berry, I want you to think, is there conflict and drama here? A couple of weeks ago, Todd Monken, Browns head coach, was asked about Brendan Sorsby. And would he be interested, would the Browns be interested if he came out in the supplemental draft? Here's what Todd had to say.
Not at all. I mean, that's not even come across my desk. I don't think we're in a position to want to go down that road. That's my opinion. That's not Andrew's. And that I like the quarterbacks that we have. I think that's a slippery slope when you go down that, irrespective of talent, right? In terms of the situation he's put himself in. Like we all know what that is. He put himself in that situation. And we've seen in other sports with players that have been banned for life from playing in professional sports. I think that's a slippery slope to go down that road. Again, that's a question for Andrew and for management. But from my end of it, kind of a tough angle to go down that road and think that that's going to be your franchise quarterback if he's ever eligible to even play in the NFL.
I don't know Coach Monken well enough. I don't know if he's a hugger, but if he is, I owe him one.
Todd let you know what he felt. Not in a position to do that. Slippery slope, tough angle to go down that path. Very clearly, he's not interested in bringing Brendan Sorsby. And he said, regardless of talent. Regardless of talent. A couple weeks later, Andrew Berry was asked about Brendan Sorsby. Does this conflict with what his coach said?
I really asked two questions. I asked, number one, is this a bad person or did they make a bad decision? And then the second piece is like, okay, what are they doing after the fact, whether it's to correct the behavior? Like, is this a pattern of decision making? And if so, have they done something to stop the pattern, or is this an isolated incident? Because the reality of it is, like, we're all going to screw up. And some certainly mistakes are greater in magnitude than others. But I think the most important thing, in Brendan's case is like what he does from here. Obviously, it's a great first step to get the help that he needs, but then it's like, what is around him? What is he doing to make sure that he can maintain healthy habits moving forward? And so it seems like it's a very good start there. Obviously, I don't know all the details at this point. I think we could all stand to use a little bit more grace.
Does that conflict with what Todd Monken said?
It's not decision with Brendan Sorsby either. It's decisions. It's multiple. Guy was gambling on his own team with proxies, telling me he knew what he was doing was wrong, but yet
see that
still continued.
That is one issue there. That were the proxy bets with his own team.
Yes.
Okay. That clearly doesn't sound like a good idea. That said, Andrew Berry seemed to sound like a general manager and saying, I don't know if politically correct is the right way to say it.
A way that
saying what a general manager would say, like, we're not closing the door on this.
Yeah, I want to keep all of my options open. I want to keep every card still in the deck that I'm able to play at this time. Yep. That's what Andrew Berry is saying right there. I understand what he is saying. Would I have liked it better if he would have just said, no, why would I do that? Yes, I would have loved that. That would have been wonderful. It would be great if we had a general manager who told you exactly how he felt at any given point, kind of like your head coach. But we don't. It's not the world we live in. It's not how he operates. He plays everything very, very close to the vest and vague, especially in public. I hope he feels the way Todd Monken does in private. I really do. I just don't want to deal with it, Jeff. I don't want to deal with it. I don't
want to deal with it either.
I don't want supplemental more quarterback drafts.
I don't want to deal with it either. However, if they think in their evaluation that the guy checks out, okay, there's not the issue that he's dealing with is in his past, under control, whatever, treatment, combined with Mary Kay saying they don't shy away from drama. And she's right. I mean, we have proof of that. And they have him evaluated highly. We don't know the answer to that. They have him evaluated highly. Man. Again, I said no. But if they think he could develop into like a top 10 quarterback, might be something you have to think about.
Okay.
Again, I said no.
I get that. Let's have some fun. Okay?
Fun.
Is Brendan Sorsby the type of quarterback that you would underhand the keys to the car to and say, this is your franchise, I'm either going up with you or I'm going down with you?
I had to think about what you said, underhand the keys to the car to.
Yeah, you don't throw keys overhand.
Here you go, champ.
If you throw keys overhand, you're going to hurt somebody. You're going to end up with a key stabbing you in the
Is he the kind
palm.
of quarterback that I would just say, you're the guy?
You're the guy, let's go.
In 3 college seasons, he threw 60 touchdowns and only 18 interceptions.
Do you underhand him the keys? Because that is the one thing that this franchise...
He ran for 22 touchdowns.
That is
in 3 college seasons.
This franchise has really only done that about 4 times. And again, I'm doing this off the top of my head, so if my math is incorrect, folks, please correct me. They've only really done that about 4 times. Tim Couch, Brandon Weeden, Baker Mayfield.
Oh, you mean
Deshaun
first
Watson.
year?
Where they underhanded them the keys and said, you are the quarterback of the Cleveland Browns, and no matter what happens to you, whether you go up or you go down, we're going with you.
I don't think they have to do that. If you picked him up in the supplemental draft for a 4th or a 5th round pick, heck, even a 3rd round pick, you don't have to play him.
But you
just let him sit for the year. Let Shedeur and Deshaun fight it out.
You really think he's going to sit for the year?
Well, in this case, that might not be a bad idea.
Jeff, you know I dream of that case.
I know.
I
but
go to bed at night.
That might not be a bad idea in this case, especially since you have Shedeur and you have Deshaun.
I want that to be the case.
If you honestly think the guy is really good, and I mean if you think, if Andrew Berry thinks, if his scouts think, if they think he's as good as what they might get in next year's draft, well, and you could get him for a 4th or something like that, put him on the bench, let him sit there, and go get a quarterback next year because it didn't cost you much. And then you bring in whoever you're going to bring in next year.
No.
And I'm just telling you, we've watched a lot of really crummy quarterback play for a really long time.
Boy, howdy.
And if they can get a guy that they think is really, really good for the cost of a 4th or a 5th round pick, they used a 3rd on Dylan Gabriel. They don't think Dylan's even worthy of being in the conversation to be the starting quarterback. He's not even in the competition. So they throw draft choices at quarterbacks.
But this is the problem, is that they continuously throw draft picks at quarterbacks.
Well, until you get it right, you're going to.
Well, instead of at no point in this entire journey have they ever stated, outside of 4 guys off the top of my head, and maybe there's a 5th I'm forgetting, folks, and if that's the case, I apologize. Outside of 4 guys, how they have ever
since
said,
99.
Here are the keys. I'm either going up with you or I'm going down with you. Because every other situation that you look at with successful quarterbacks, at a certain point, a head coach in an organization has looked that guy dead in the eyes and has said to them, I'm either going up with you or I'm going down with you, but I'm not yanking you back and forth. We're not playing that game. Even the Seattle
Kaiser, actually.
Yeah. Well, but even that, though, we knew that was the tank.
Well,
the minute they did the
sure turned out to be.
The minute they did the Osweiler deal, we knew that was the tank.
But
that's the problem that we have had with this organization as well, is that there's never been that full-blown commitment. If you bring Brendan Sorsby in here, I would love for him to sit for a year. But even if we play that game where he sits for a year, do you underhand the keys to the car to him and say, well, no matter what happens, you're my guy? I'm either going up with you or I'm going down with you. Or are we just in another position where you're yanking guys back and forth? Because the whole goal of this ordeal is to find the guy that I'm either going up with or down with. Anything I've ever heard about quarterbacks has always told me you need to commit to these guys and just fly through it. Look, if you hit bumpy among the roads and that stuff, you tinker it along the way, but you never truly leave their side. That's how these guys flourish. The minute you start yanking them back and forth like the Browns have done the last 25 damn years, that's where you get yourself in trouble. You need a direction, and you need someone who is the driver come hell or high water, and Brendan Sorsby doesn't fit that for me.
For you. Unlikely that he fits it for me. I would not do it. However, if they have a high grade on him and really think he's something, I could see how they could bring him in. Stay tuned. We'll talk more about this in the days and weeks ahead leading up to the supplemental draft. That'll be fun. Coming up later in the show, 1 o'clock, Chris Ossenheimer covers the guards for the Chronicle Telegram. Chris is going to join us. We'll talk some baseball. We're also going to help out Stephen Vogt. Stephen needs our help. Dan, I don't know if you know that. He's going to help us. We're going to talk some Cavs, but headlines coming up next.
Mike Rowe here with a fun fact. Did you know that 50% of the air that you breathe inside your home comes from your crawl space? Yeah. Whether your crawl space is wet, musty, or your floors are bouncy, do yourself a favor and call a Groundworks company. I spent some time working with these guys, and they're the real deal. Their people are trained and certified to repair your crawl space. Schedule a free inspection with Ohio Basement Authority, a Groundworks company.
Licensed in all states where work is performed. See website for details.
Hey everybody, it's Jeff Phelps, and if you've even been thinking about an RV, now's the time to buy at RCD RV. Motorhomes, fifth wheels, travel trailers, all from the brands that people trust like Cougar, Montana, Coachman, Forest River, Salem. They're also stepping up trade values right now to help you get even more for what you already have. Plus, every RV purchase comes with a $500 ODNR gift card for your next Ohio State Park getaway. It all ends June 27th, so don't wait. Get to RCD RV now, online at rcdrv.com.
Get more out of your play at Northfield Park Racino with the NP Rewards Players Club. Sign up to become an NP Rewards member and start earning more offers and more rewards. Signing up is free and easy, so don't wait. Stop by the NP Rewards desk today and start earning more. More offers, more rewards, and more fun. Must be 21. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-589-9966.
When equipment breaks down and operations come to a halt, every single second counts. So why is your maintenance team spending 60% of their time doing anything but turning wrenches? MaintainX is the AI-powered maintenance and asset management system that helps your team get back to actually fixing breakdowns. No more searching for manuals. No more hunting down parts. No more drowning in paperwork. With MaintainX, your team can access manuals from anywhere, create new procedures in minutes, and turn voice notes into clear and complete work order feedback. What used to take hours now only takes minutes. Keep your operations moving and your wrenches turning. Join over 13,000 maintenance teams that are already fixing more and filing less. Try MaintainX for free today. Go to maintainx.com/AI. That's maintain and the letter x.com/AI.
Denise Ann has always been Dow Bash Jewelers. That's who we are. It's made us who we are. Through this line, through this multifaceted diamond, people just see the difference between a traditional cut and our Denise Ann. It's not something we can explain, but once we show it to you, you'll never go back. You'll never see a traditional diamond again.
It gives everyone the chance to wear something that sparkles, which is what my mother always used to.
games. Today, Sorsby's attorney said they plan on withdrawing the lawsuit against the NCAA, and Sorsby plans on applying for the NFL supplemental draft. Mary Kay Cabot is reporting the Browns are unlikely to place a bid on him. Want to catch highlights from The Fan from throughout the day? Get over to 923thefan.com or favorite The Fan on the Odyssey app for all of today's headline segments. Headline sports news every 20 minutes on 92.3 The Fan. From the University Hospital Sports Desk, I'm Meredith Kane.
You can listen to The Fan anytime, anywhere on the free Odyssey app or by telling your smart speaker to play 92.3 The Fan. And as we've been hammering home for months, you can find us on YouTube. That includes The Ken Carman Show with Anthony Lima, 6 to 10. Baskin and Phelps, that's us, 10 to 2. Afternoon Drive, Nick Wilson, Jonathan Peterlin, 2 to 7. Each and every weekday, it's on the 92.3 The Fan YouTube channel, which you can subscribe to for free. You can watch all the best content from our favorite shows on The Fan, live and on demand right now. Dan Mennigan's in for Andy Baskin today. I'm Jeff Phelps, and the lady who's going to hit the magic button is Meredith Kane. No big voice guy doing TV stuff. Andy's not here.
I'm so disappointed. Every time I do the headlines, I never get the big voice.
Is it you putting the kibosh on it, or am I allowed to do it?
Hold on, let me turn this thing down. Okay. My head. Go ahead, Dan.
Live from the panic room. She's here. She's there. She's everywhere. She's Meredith Kane.
Thank you, Dan.
That was as good, if not better, than any that Andy's ever done.
Anytime I could drop a Roy Kent reference in, what's going to happen? World Cup season, baby.
Incredible. So let's start with some NBA. I'm pretty sure that residents of New York City and the surrounding areas, as well as people who are in town for the World Cup, are still in the streets celebrating the Knicks championship win. Something that came out yesterday, that Dan found it, sent it to me. I thought it was hilarious. There was a message from James Dolan ahead of the playoffs, and this was the message that he had for the team before they won their Larry O'Brien.
Please tell me it's a song.
I had this idea that maybe you should give up sex for the next 10 weeks. You don't have to give up sex for the next 10 weeks. But, like Spartans, you know what Spartans are? Right? They denied themselves so that they could have an edge. Get the edge. Go home, talk to your wives. Don't tell them you're not going to have sex. Don't tell them it was my idea. But let them know what this is going to be like, what your commitment is going to be like, and how they're going to have to sacrifice too.
Say what you want about James Dolan. He gave a speech and his team won the NBA title.
I mean, that's like LeBron's Zero Dark 23, but to the absolute extreme.
Yeah, so a lot of World Cup teams have done this in the past, too, where they've always come back and said, oh, yeah, we've practiced abstinence throughout the entire World Cup run. Like, I know the Italian team did that won the whole thing, and they claimed that was part of it, which, hey, to each their own, man. I'm not here to question methods.
I give him a lot of credit, though. He said some things, and did it stick? Maybe it did. Maybe it helped.
Who knows?
Are you going to play any more of what he said? Because I've got one quote I want to read.
That's all that I've got from him.
He Dolan, and again, he's the cousin of Paul Dolan, who owns the Guardians. No. He said, this is the clean part. Dolan had a piece of paper, so he took notes into his meeting, and he's considered a terrible owner.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, I would expect him to come in and start doing the rehearsing the inches speech in the worst Al Pacino impression you can imagine, because that's what bad owners do.
He said, this team can win it all. I don't know if you understand what it would mean for you to win the championship this year. It would be life-changing for all of you. It will stick with you for the rest of your lives, and if you don't win, you'll be thinking about it for the rest of your lives, and so will I. And he talked about Thibodeau, gave Tom Thibodeau a lot of credit, said, but we thought a more team concept would be better. Explained to the guys in that meeting why they made the move, and brought in Mike Brown, who did a terrific job. Good for Mike Brown. And I just think it was interesting. One more line. He said, when people introduce you, even if you become the president of the United States, they'll start off with NBA champion 2026. I guarantee it. He said, we have a rare and unique opportunity to do it. It's not just you guys, it's the players, it's all of us, everybody.
I mean,
good for him.
That's why we always say, World Series champion Austin Hedges,
yes,
who won it with the Rangers. You can say World Series champion Yan Gomes because he won it with the Nationals in 2019, and I don't believe he played a single minute of that series, but he was there.
He was there.
He was there. He's got a ring.
2026 World Series champion and Supreme Court Justice Karl Anthony Towns.
Good for them. And boy, the Knicks were just fun to watch. We're going to talk some basketball coming up here in just a little bit.
All right, so another basketball story that I saw this morning is we know that Giannis is looking for out of Milwaukee. He wants to find another team.
Well, maybe. He hasn't said that.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe.
Jimmy
but
Haslam has said that he'll decide what's going on.
Uh-huh.
But the trade rumors are not going away.
And his pals.
Is where I'm going with this. The trade rumors not going away. So Gary Washburn of the Boston Globe is reporting.
Been on the show.
He's reporting that the Celtics are potentially sniffing around Antetokounmpo, but they're trying to find a way that they can acquire him without including Jaylen Brown. And this is the quote from Gary. He says, I do think Boston is kind of sniffing around and finding out if you could acquire Giannis without sacrificing Jaylen. That would be a big question. What exactly is Milwaukee looking for? It seems like a very having your cake and eating it too type of situation if the Celtics are trying to get Giannis Antetokounmpo while keeping Jaylen Brown in the process. Seems a little like gimme.
But why not try it?
Oh, of course.
I mean, if they would take every other guy on the roster and 5 first-round picks, 2 of those would have to be pick swaps because you can't trade 2 in a row.
Thank you, Mr. Stepien.
Well, why wouldn't you? If you were the Celtics and you could roll out Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, and Giannis, here, take everything else.
Yeah. All right, fine.
Would you like the Green Monster? We'll package it up.
All right, fine. We'll hang on to Al Horford, too. I know he doesn't fit your timeline.
Isn't Horford at Golden State now?
No, he was still with the Celtics last year. Yeah.
Sure?
Yes. I feel confident in saying such things.
Okay.
You do the Googling.
Yeah.
So,
I'm missing something?
Do I get one over on you?
No. I got one over on you. He was with Golden State last year.
What? When did that happen?
All year.
Damn.
It's all right. Move along.
This is like that moment where
you could put 5 guys around Giannis, Brown, and Tatum.
Right, because they traded for Vucevic. That's on me. We'll get it fixed.
And you could win it.
Get that
you could win it.
All right, so in Major League Baseball,
I thought I had that one on you.
Something really, really cool happened during the Cubs and Rockies game yesterday, and this is courtesy of Marquee Sports Network.
In franchise history, it's courtesy of Pete Crow Armstrong.
So that was really fun, but unfortunately, moments later, this happened.
His world, and we're living in it. Arm get picked. Oh, no.
So he hits for the cycle, and then literally the next pitch gets picked off at first base.
He's like, hey, I hit for the cycle. Oh, I'm out.
Oops.
Oh, sorry.
I could cheat a little. It's my night.
So I mean, it's a really cool thing. I mean, and you can't take away from hitting for the cycle because it's rare and it's fun and it's really cool. And I know that Pete Crow Armstrong is trying to make another All-Star case for himself, and that's going to help. But yeah, getting picked off kind of put a damper on the celebration because you could even hear in the background on that second clip the crowd was still really, really hype, and then you could just hear it die off when they saw that he got picked.
Oh,
it's a cool thing to hit for the cycle. This was the first cycle of the season for Major League Baseball. The Cubs were able to beat the Rockies in that game too, which also helps the cause. It is amazing how often cycles happen. You would think it would be something that was far more rare than it actually is, but it'll happen probably about 4 or 5 times this season. We'll have somebody hit for the cycle, but it's always cool.
I forget. I want to say there was a Guardians game that I was at last year, and it may have been Jose, it may have been somebody else, but someone was like a single or a double away from hitting for the cycle, and they just did not get a chance. And it was sad because it would have been something. It was very likely Jose Ramirez because he's very, very good at those extra base hits. So, yeah, it's a very cool thing to see. But you can't really take away from the All-Star campaign that Pete Crow Armstrong is making for himself. So
we'll see how it goes. The NL is also pretty good, and the AL is less good.
All right, so I think, Dan, this is your time to shine. It's time to put you in your element because it is time for World Cup Roundup. Because I don't think
here we go.
Because just in case you forgot, I said this yesterday. I'll remind you today. This event goes on for 5 weeks?
Mm-hmm.
We've got
5 weeks of bliss, baby,
of soccer/football, whatever you want to call it. We have 5 weeks of the World Cup here in the United States. So, Dan, what's going on in the World Cup?
All right, so the biggest thing that happened yesterday is the upset that took place with a 0-0 draw between Spain and Cape Verde. Now, for those of you out there who
wait a minute. Spain?
Correct.
And
Spain, who was one
Cape
of
took care of them?
Spain, who was one of the favorites of this tournament.
Yes.
One of the teams that was most heavily bet on to win this whole thing with a boatload of talent and their legendary tiki-taka style of offense.
Sure.
Which basically just means a lot of short passes that'll put you to sleep. Drew with Cape Verde. Now, I would like to point out that Cape Verde, for those of you who do not know, because, I don't know, you go outside and don't look at maps, Cape Verde has a population in 2021 of 491,000 people. To put that in perspective, the Akron Canton area has about 700,000 people. Nice. Give or take, according to the sentence. So in other words, Spain lost to a smaller island than Akron Canton. Or I should say Drew. Drew with them. Giant upset. This is unbelievable. Cape Verde has been going absolutely nuts in all of the streets over this, absolutely partying.
You only need about 11 guys.
So we need 11 guys.
Find 11 guys who can play, you can go win.
It's awesome. It's one of the best stories going here. Belgium won. Egypt won that match as well. That's about right. A lot of people think the Belgians might have a chance, but they're getting a little on the older side as well.
Sure.
Iran 2, New Zealand 2. A lot of draws yesterday. Nothing too massive. But the best story going by far in the World Cup as well is the Scottish taking over Boston, which has been absolutely wonderful, including the fact that they've been waking people up at obscenely early hours with bagpipes.
I've seen them at Fenway.
They've been at Fenway going absolutely berserk.
Did you see, my favorite video was at Fenway. I guess they were playing... Oh gosh, was it Sweet Caroline?
Yes.
So they were playing. I don't know if it was someone's walk-up song or if it was just something that they were playing.
Stretch of the Boston Red Sox.
Okay, so there you go. They were playing Sweet Caroline. They played the clip that they were going to play, and then the Scottish fans in the crowd kept singing it for several minutes, probably till the song was almost finished, and you can hear the announcer say, "Well, they stopped playing the song several minutes ago," and the Scots fans are still out there singing.
Yep.
That's
including,
fun.
and they did the same thing with Country Roads as well. Proceeded to sing the entire thing when Country Roads was playing.
They chased the Lauder walk.
The best video going is the slide that a couple Scots went down. Two of them went down, and the third one came down playing a bagpipe down the whole slide. It's fantastic.
I think
how'd you get that through customs?
I think a lot of bagpipes came over. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing.
I would get rid of it, but that's because I despise bagpipes. It wouldn't have anything to do with worry. Oh, I hate them. Oh, I can't stand them.
You know what makes me kind of sad?
God. Why would you hate bagpipes?
Oh,
because Dan has no taste.
Seriously? This is not the place for me to go off on bagpipes.
Dude in a kilt and the hat and the bagpipe. That's living right there.
But I will say,
only the Scottish would think to themselves, "Hey, I got a great idea. Let's take a stomach. Let's take a stomach of a sheep and inflate it with air and try to play it through a reed, and then realize we can't even play a full scale through this stupid thing. So we're just going to keep playing it with the most annoying high-pitched drone on the face of this earth." I hate bagpipes.
I think it's incredible. But one of the things that I think makes me all right, we get it.
First person I've ever heard who said I hate bagpipes.
I've never seen anyone have such a strong feeling, positive or negative, about the bagpipes.
I leave when I hear bagpipes.
Trumpets?
They can play a full scale. They're real instruments. They're not noisemakers like bagpipes.
Well, the World Cup is a lot of fun. I'm kind of sad that Cleveland isn't hosting
in the World Cup
any teams, because you see what's going on with Team Algeria in Lawrence, Kansas. You see what's going on with the Scottish in Boston, and how every town is kind of adopting the team that's staying there for the 5 weeks. I believe there is a team in Columbus. I don't remember which one, but I do think Columbus is housing a team as one of their base camps. And I was like, you know what? I kind of wish one of them was in Cleveland, because I feel like Clevelanders would truly truly embrace any European team that comes over and stays here for 5 weeks during the World Cup. But anyway, that's it for headlines.
Meredith mentioned James Dolan and his speech to the New York Knicks that apparently worked because they went bananas after that, and really, they were outstanding. They were fun to watch. Our thoughts on the NBA Finals? On a 6'1" guard winning an NBA championship, I received an email from a diehard Cavs fan who said, "See, it can be done." And I wrote back and said, "And here's why I don't think it'll happen in Cleveland." I'll share it next on Baskin and Phelps.
This is an Odyssey Sports Minute.
Sponsored by Metal Supermarket.
chances are very good, but I'll still go ahead and I'll give him a chance over adding more problems to my organization because I got to see him, and I don't know if I'm going to get a chance to see him because now I have to wait for another judge to make a decision whether or not the guy can play again if we get him in the supplemental draft. And how much do I give up? The Ken Carman Show with Anthony Lima. Weekday mornings starting at 6 a.m. We are Sports Radio 92.3 The Fan.
As always, you can listen to our show. You can listen to all of our local shows here on The Fan at a variety of places like Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. I'm Jeff Phelps, Dan Mennigan, in for Andy today, Meredith behind the glass. By golly, it's the three amigos.
Mm-hmm. Can't hide when you play in a trio.
You wore your Nationals shirt today. Was that just for Meredith?
It came up in conversation with Daryl yesterday. This is the Peanuts, the Potomac Nationals, where their logo is George Washington cutting down a tree with an axe.
Isn't that nice?
And I got it because I love minor league baseball, and it made me laugh.
That's very nice.
And he also wore it for me, too. Don't let him lie to you.
And MK.
Yeah, there you go. Chris Ossenheimer is going to talk a little Guardians with us coming up at 1 o'clock. We're going to talk a little Cavs, a little NBA right now. New York Knicks aren't going away, Dano. They were fun to watch. They were entertaining. And they have a terrific leader of that team who happens to be a small guard. Jalen Brunson's outstanding. He was so much fun to watch.
I would like to take this moment to become the internet. And all of our social media mentions are powered by Scheibe Jewelers, Cleveland's Big Red Jewelry Store. And now we do not have a tweet that specifically says such things. We have had many of them over the coming days. And so now, being the master thespian that I am, I will perform the internet to Jeff Phelps. But Jeff, you said no one can win with a 6'2 guard as their primary scorer.
That's not what I said. What I said was it's really unlikely for teams to win when their top player is a small guard.
Again, nope, I'm here right now.
Trust me, I know what I said.
I'm in character.
Good. I know what I said.
I want to break character.
Sharon sent me an email. Sharon's a diehard Cavs fan. And she said 6'1", and her subject line was, all right, Jeff. And it said 6'1 guard, it can be done, which means a 6'2 guard can do it too.
If anything, it's a 1-inch advantage.
And I wrote her back and I said, well, sure, Sharon, it can be done. I said Brunson, Isaiah Thomas, Steph Curry.
Every rule has exceptions, my friend.
And I said, in the history of the NBA, that's all I can come up with. NBA champs whose best players were a small guard. And I told her, I don't think Donovan is capable of adding his name to that list. I don't. And that doesn't mean it can't happen. I don't think, and I especially don't think this team, the way it's built right now, is capable of supporting him in that endeavor. I don't think they have the right team if their top guy is clearly going to be Donovan Mitchell.
I agree.
You need wing guys. They don't have wing guys.
I agree with you because I don't think Donovan Mitchell has the game at this time to do what Jalen Brunson did. Jalen Brunson had so many tools in the toolbox that he could go to with 5 minutes left in a game. He could get to the elbow at any point where he had either the pull-up jumper, he could back a guy down with some post moves, be able to finish over both shoulders, or even had a spin move to try to get to the cup. He was also able to finish, had so many different layups he could do that with, and that's before we even add in the step-back three that he had in the arsenal and the one-legged Dirk fall-away, which I know other players have had that shot, but Dirk Nowitzki doing it has always been in my head. And Jalen Brunson could do it really, really well, where he would stop at that elbow and hit that fall-away jumper with his one leg out.
Did you mention as cold-blooded as anybody as you've seen in the NBA in a long time?
And a tough dude. I mean, game one, he twisted his knee. He missed like 3 minutes as he went to the back. I don't know what voodoo was done in the back. Found his way back out, then rolled his ankle, tightened his shoes, and just kept going. And that's not meant to be like, oh, yeah, Donovan Mitchell is not that way.
Donovan's phenomenal.
Donovan Mitchell's awesome.
He's phenomenal.
He's awesome. But he needs more help. And he needs help in the way that he needs to go in the lab, and he needs to put more tools in the toolbox for closing games. And he needs help in that he needs somebody around him who is going to help in a lot of those moments and could be a secondary scorer. the Knicks did a great job because, yes, Brunson was always there along the way, but they had OG Anunoby who would chip in some points and rebounds and defense.
Oh, he did more than chip in.
And they would have Karl Anthony Towns
He
that they could
tipped in.
run. He did. He tipped in as well. You're right.
Thank you.
They had Karl Anthony Towns that they could run an offense through.
Yeah.
At any given point. They had Mikal Bridges who, yes, in the finals did a little bit more, hey, man, stand in the corner. We need you to hit these shots. But still was there to get them to that point. Landry Shamet couldn't miss for a good period of time. Lost it a little bit in the finals, found it again at the tail end. Like, there were a lot of other assets that went with it, but with 5 minutes left, it was Jalen Brunson time, and everybody knew it, and they still couldn't stop
it. He was just so much fun and good for him, and I loved his humbleness in all the post-game stuff and everything else. I'm just really impressed. I think he's been a great player for a long time, and he did a terrific job for the Knicks.
Yeah.
There's no question about that.
If I'm Donovan Mitchell, I take two things away from that finals. One of them is I can do this. If he can do it, I can do it. The second thing I take away from this, I need to get in the lab, and I need to get more tools in the toolbox. So then that way I don't have what I do best taken away from me, and I don't have answers to the question anymore. Because the thing with Donovan Mitchell in these end of games, he's got that orbit Euro step that ends at a floater, and he's got a step back three. There's not much that's in the mid-range. There's not much in means of him finishing around the basket, especially late in games, in the finals, in the playoffs, that kind of stuff, in those conference finals. When those two things got taken away from Donovan Mitchell, the three just got deeper. There wasn't like a, motion that could help that out a little bit more. Do you see it that way?
Yeah.
Okay.
And he had a couple of games where, and this is being nitpicky, but we're being nitpicky because this team, they want to win the NBA championship.
You're one of the four best teams in the league, and as much
Right.
as it ended poorly, you still made it.
Yes. There were times when it's like, ooh, Donovan looks gassed today.
Mm-hmm.
Like coming off the game where he had the 38-point second half, it wasn't the same Donovan. And, I don't know, were you just gassed? Okay, that happens. But, well, you want to win the NBA championship? Go ahead.
Yeah.
We're gonna hear stuff like this. There's a story out on the Fadeaway World. 5 superstars the San Antonio Spurs must target after losing the NBA Finals. They list Zion Williamson.
Before you get too deep into this, sorry to detract a little bit.
Well, thank you, Andy.
Can we take a half step back on it? Do you think the Spurs need to make a move?
Depends on how patient they want to be.
Okay. See, to me, I the only one I'd maybe look at Fox trades, but I don't think I would go much farther
Depends
than
how patient they want to be.
Yeah, I don't know because I feel like they're early. Okay, continue. Sorry.
This team might need another year or two of development from the Spurs, the group they have now.
Yeah.
In other words, hey, be really ready to compete in 2 or 3 years.
If I'm the Spurs, I'm still over the moon.
Well, yeah, they got to where you weren't expecting quite yet.
And I'm early, and I think an offseason of Dylan Harper learning could do wonders.
You're number 3 for Wemby.
Continue, buddy. Sorry.
That's all right. They have Zion Williamson listed, Lauri Markkanen, who would be a terrific side guy next to Wemby. I think that'd be really good.
He would fit well, yeah.
Giannis Antetokounmpo, and they're giving up a boatload to get Giannis in this trade. The number 1 pick is Devin Booker.
That would make sense.
But their number 2 pick is Donovan Mitchell.
I don't know how Donovan would fit with that.
Well, that's where the question is. Would Donovan be willing, as good as he is, to go be the number 2 in San Antonio? Not that he'd have a choice.
Do I get Dylan Harper back as a Cavs fan?
Nope, you do not.
Because you could talk me into that if I get Dylan Harper back.
You do not. I don't like this trade. They actually pose a trade.
Okay.
Spurs get Donovan.
Okay.
Cavs, and before you yell, Cavs get De'Aaron Fox.
I've always been a Fox supporter.
He's terrific. He wasn't great in the finals.
No.
Carter Bryant, who is a young guy they drafted.
Up and coming.
A 6'6" wing guy who is a young guy who's, it's like if you're gonna take him in a deal, you're thinking, okay,
I mean, goodness,
we can develop him.
He's 19.
Yeah, he's a young dude.
He's 19 right now.
And a 2027 first-round pick and a 2032 first-round pick for Donovan. Now, what are you going to do with De'Aaron Fox next to James Harden? That's clunky.
Extremely. You would have to move on from Harden. It's part of the reason.
And apparently, the only way to get under the second apron is to.
But blech.
Yeah. And first rounders from the Hawks and a 2032 first. If it's the Spurs 2032 first, well, Wemby's going to be there a while, so you wouldn't think that would be a good one. That doesn't seem to be enough. But don't be surprised if Donovan Mitchell's name comes up in trade rumors, and don't get all upset if it does. I think that's part of this. And I think the Cavs need to take a really hard look at this team and think, are we really that close to winning an NBA championship? Now, you made it to the Final Four. Do you think that they could beat the Knicks? Right now, the way the Cavs are built, I say no.
No.
Could they beat the Spurs?
No.
I don't think so either. Could they beat Oklahoma City?
No.
I don't think so either. Could you beat Boston just with Tatum and Brown again next year and Vucevic at center?
No.
I don't think so either.
I had to think about it for a second.
That's what you have to think about here.
Especially if they add Giannis, then it really becomes no.
If the Cavs want to win the NBA championship, do they have to mix it up a little?
But the problem is I don't know what the magic bullet move out there is that makes me feel better about such things.
Would you think about taking a step back and improving long term by moving Donovan? Because it's not just the idea of moving Donovan. To me, it's the idea of, wait a minute, we're going to give him an extension next year for $350 million over 5 years, $70 million a year. This sounds nasty, and I don't mean this to sound nasty. Donovan has never been on a team that's won a game past the second round of the playoffs.
The problem is I'm holding one of the 15 to 20 best guys in the league.
He's really good.
And I need one of the 15 to 20 best guys in the league to be able to win the title.
And you'd want that in return.
So I would want somebody who would be there in return, or at least somebody who would have the trajectory to be there, which is part of the reason when you immediately threw out the Donovan to the Spurs thing, the first thing that popped into my head is Dylan Harper, is because I think that guy could be there. Because that guy,
I don't think he's going anywhere.
That guy was afraid of nothing in the finals.
I don't think he's going anywhere.
He was not afraid of anyone, and it was awesome.
Yep, I don't think he's going anywhere. Number to join us, 216-474-0092. Might the Cavs have to make some very uncomfortable decisions this offseason? And might it mean taking a step back? It's Baskin and Phelps with Mennigan in for Baskin.
If you dread dealing with your insurance company more than you dread yard work, in 90-degree weather.
Wow, it is a scorcher out there today.
With a swarm of hungry mosquitoes buzzing around.
things to a federal level with an injunction for the right to discipline the quarterback. As far as the Browns go, Mary Kay Cabot reporting it's unlikely the Browns will place a bid on Sorsby in the supplemental draft. You can listen to the Fan Rewind weeknights from 11 p.m. to midnight, all the best segments from all our shows, and you can always listen on the Odyssey app. Headline sports news every 20 minutes on 92.3 The Fan. From the University Hospital Sports Desk, I'm Meredith Kane.
Can the Cavs get it done with basically the group they have now? It's kind of what Kobe Altman laid out. We like our guys. We're bringing back, it sounds like they're bringing back James. He left the door open, but sounds like wink, wink, nudge, nudge, that deal was in place for James to waive his no-trade clause, play him alongside Donovan Mitchell. You have nobody on the wing of note. Nobody. I mean, you have some guys that you can play there, but are they going to be huge difference makers in a playoff series? I say no. Evan Mobley needs to take a step. It's time. Can he take that step with two guys who are the first and second options on the team? And where's Jared Allen? There are big decisions to make for the Cavaliers this offseason. And if you watch the New York Knicks, you saw how a team can play as a unit and have five guys start, one of them a small guard, three wing players, and a center. And it really worked.
And also how they can do it without having to go through the draft to do it either.
Yeah, that's very true.
It's one of the most impressive
things. They traded
things.
for Karl Anthony Towns. Mm-hmm. They brought in Bridges.
Mm-hmm. Traded for him. Overpaid, a lot of people would say.
Yeah.
But you don't overpay when you win the title.
It's really true.
Yeah. OG Anunoby they made the trade for. Jalen Brunson was signed via free agency. Josh Hart they traded for.
None of those guys were Knick draft choices.
No. It's a really fascinating thing.
Well, I think it is. Tim's in Cleveland. Tim, what do you think here?
Yeah, guys, I mean, I definitely agree with you, Jeff. I know you've been a long time guy against like the small backcourt, and it's like the only way I see the Cavs getting if they stay as is, if they stay that way, the only way they're going to be a contender is if Evan Mobley becomes like an all-NBA, all-star type player, takes his game to a whole nother level, and guys like Tyson and Proctor become, stars in their roles, have to become really, really take their games to another level. And if that doesn't work, and if they don't go that route, the only other route is to make, probably sounds like they want to keep Donovan, is to trade Mobley to get another player on Donovan's level that can help them compete for a championship. I don't know who that person would be, but just somebody who is another, like if Donovan's 1B, the other guy's like a 1A player. Because right now they're not even close to having anybody even close to being on Donovan's level right now.
Tim, I just think there's a huge decision that's ahead for them. And Tim, thank you. It's are you keeping Donovan as your 1A player? I would think the answer is yes, but I'll be honest. A guy who's had some leg things in his career, who hasn't won big in the playoffs through almost a decade in the league, and is looking at a $70 million a year contract for 5 years. That's a decision that that's a biggie. I mean, I think it is. To me, I don't think it's a no-brainer. I don't know if the Cavs think it's a no-brainer, but I think you got to give some thought to that one before you do it.
The problem you run into is this is the cost of being the boss. This is the cost of being in this situation where you need one of these guys to win the title. You need a guy with 5 minutes left in the game. You can hand them the ball and they can find their own shot. Now, are there aspects of Donovan Mitchell's game that needs to improve on? Yeah, especially end of game, that kind of stuff. Yeah, absolutely. But he is one of those guys. He has shown it. He has proven it. So now you have one of those guys. Can you get another one of those guys who's better than Donovan Mitchell?
I don't know how you could.
So that's your problem.
You'd have to package Evan and make the decision that he's not that guy.
Yeah. And the guys who are better, it's not like, and again, it's the NBA. We can all point to the Luka Doncic trade. At any given point, any of these guys could possibly be available to make that move.
Yeah.
But right now, as we look at the landscape of the NBA, outside of 30-year-old Giannis, I don't know who that guy is.
Yeah,
that I can go get.
I think they're in a tough spot because, I mean, why would you want to move on from Donovan? Just the player. You wouldn't.
Right. And then add in the human being who's done wonderful things around the community
phenomenal.
and the kids love him.
Which ultimately doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But, when it comes to building a team, ultimately it's a very, very, very minor part of it. But, why would you want to get away from Donovan? Well, the money might scare you. The money combined with his age and his health. That might scare you. Jay's in Westlake. Hello, Jay.
What's up, Jay?
Hey, guys. Hey, first off, Jeff, I got to say I agree with you. I love Donovan. I hate to get rid of Donovan. But you also have a team that is in the second apron, has almost no draft choices left to deal with. You don't really have the building blocks to improve the team. So, again, you guys are talking about possibly trading Mitchell to San Antonio. And, again,
just a rumor we saw out there, Jay.
I think of somebody spitballing.
Just a rumor.
Yeah.
And, again, I would hate that. But if you were going to do it, I mean, you couldn't possibly consider that trade without them sending back Harper. And I would tell you probably another guy along with that, maybe Castle or Bryant.
Vassell, maybe?
Yeah. Vassell, another possibility, although I like the other guys because they're a little bit younger. But you also have the advantage of making that trade with those guys, of knocking off over $30 million on your cap hit. So, again, I would hate to see them lose him. But, again, if you could get, two of those guys that I discussed, plus, a handful of draft picks in the first round, which would, restock what you've got. Sometimes, again, you looked at what the Browns did by getting rid of Garrett. Hated to see Garrett go, but I also understood the theory behind it.
I just think there are going to be huge decisions to make, and Jay, thank you very much. I
don't like giving
it's
up.
not as simple as rolling this back, and if it is, it could be a huge bump in the road, because if you roll it back and it doesn't work, Dan, then you're looking at a rebuild in some way, shape, or form.
I don't love the idea of moving on from Donovan Mitchell just because I don't think he is the guy that could get this whole thing over the hump.
No, I agree with you.
Because for more lottery tickets more than anything else. Like, it would have to be some kind of proven commodity, or at least something where you would feel comfortable with how high the arrow was pointing for that particular player. And again, I don't have that list of guys in front of me. I could probably quick throw one together that would be like, here are the guys where the arrow is pointing high enough that I would look at them and say, okay, that's worth a Donovan Mitchell trade. I just don't have that right now. Like, and I look at the landscape and I don't know who is willing to give that up. Because that's the other problem with this, is it takes two to tango. We're sadly not playing 2K. I can't force you into making trades for guys. I'd like to. It'd be really nice. It's just not the reality we live in.
Dominic's in Cleveland. Hey, Dominic.
What's happening, Dominic?
Hey, Jeff, I usually go along with your philosophy, but I got to disagree today. The reason being, it's not about the players. It's our coaching philosophy. Right now, we got Kenny, Stefanski, Atkinson at the helm. That's the issue.
What are you disagreeing with, Dominic?
Mike Brown blew up his philosophy in round one because he saw the writing on the wall and the Knicks were not going to get out of round one. He changed how the process. All the coaches that we faced last season and this season in the playoffs, they all went up to 10 deep, 11 deep per game. Not with Kenny Atkinson. He goes 7 to 8 deep, and guess what? Your guys are bent over. They're out of gas.
Well,
he changes that.
But Dominic, that's what you're doing. That's what you do in the playoffs, Dominic.
The Knicks did that too, Dominic.
Yeah, that's how the playoffs work, Dominic. You can't really play 10, 11, 12 in the playoffs.
Count them. Go back and count the rosters each game and see what they played. don't you see 10 guys coming off?
I was going to say the Knicks in the finals. I think it ended up being at like 7, and especially San Antonio. I think if you got their head coach at a quiet moment, he'd tell you he only trusted about 4.
Check the games. Check them. Go check them and watch and see.
I'll take a look. I've been wrong many a time before. Hell, I was wrong earlier in the show with Al Horford.
And go back to last year. Indiana did it. 10 deep. Everybody did it. OKC does it.
The Knicks played 6 guys more than 13 minutes in the championship game. Shamet played 13, Alvarado 11, and Miles McBride played 13 off the bench. They tightened up their rotation. It almost always happens. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's what coaches tend to do. Ken's in Brooklyn. Hey, Ken.
Let me compare.
Hi, Ken.
Hi, guys. Sorry. Let me compare the Knicks and the Cavs.
Pleasantries over anger.
All right? The Cavs, first of all, you got away with a 6'2" guard in New York because you got a 6'7" 2. All right?
And 6'5".
He was overpaid. He was traded for too many first-round picks. Be that as it may. They play 2 undersized forwards. Hart is 6'4", and Anunoby's only 6'8" at the 4. All right. Here's what's got to happen.
But you also have Bridges at 6'6", 6'7" on the wing. Who's
I understand that. Yeah. I get that. That's what I'm saying. They got away with a small point guard because you got a big 2 guard. But the problem with the Cavs are the DeAndre Hunter trade has become a salary dump because those 2 guys aren't coming back. Schroeder's on the market. They're not going to re-sign Ellis. The biggest problem with this team, and we don't trade bigs. I want everybody to get that out of there.
Thank you, Ken. Thank you. Keep preaching it.
Yeah. Now,
it's you and me, by the way. We might be on a ship by ourselves.
Why am I going to take a big and get guys that aren't that size? Evan will come around. Everybody wants to beat up. The guy's 24 years old. I'm not giving up on a 24-year-old.
Who's actually already been a good player.
Yeah, Jeff. You know, I've told you who I want. Okay?
All right, don't go down that road.
No, but just take a look at that. If you take him and you build around him and Jalen Tyson, now you've got something. The problem is they traded for Harden. They've got a problem there now because he's only 6'5". We need bigger guards. We can't have these small guards. 100 times I've said this over and over again.
You also need guards who will play defense.
Yes, but you know what? That's why they got killed at 3 because everybody's shooting over them.
And you need guards who will play with tempo.
Yeah.
Which James Harden won't.
Well, and so you're in a really tough situation, but I'm not going to weaken a team by trading away a 7-foot, 24-year-old. Sorry.
Thank you, Ken. Ken and I are on the same page on that one. I don't know. You'd have to get one heck of a return on a trade of a guy like Evan Mobley to say we got better. And I don't know exactly what that return would be. 216-474-0092, number to join us. Cavs have work to do, folks. And I think Kobe Altman's going to have to be creative to do it. It's Baskin and Phelps. Dano's in for Andy.
At Liberty Mutual, we love helping people with things like customizing car insurance, just like how we customize a song for you. Catered country tunes